What's going on, you political cutie pies? We have a spectacular piece of political media today. This is about Joe Biden, maybe one of my favorite fictional characters in all of history. A man so popular that he he got more votes in black districts than Barack Obama did. That's how amazing Joe Biden is. Biden is a career criminal. He has been in government since 1972. Nobody should be in government for more than 10 years. Make me your dictator, and I will push all lifelong politicians out of helicopters and into volcanoes. I can't do this unless you help me become the dictator, though. How many lifelong politicians do we have in America? Is it more than 1,000? Probably. So, okay, I won't personally be able to push them all out of helicopters. That would take too long. So let's change my promise. I will instruct the military to begin helicopter rides on day one. That is my solemn promise to you as your future dictator. Speaking of dictators, Biden made a lot of money, a lot of his fortune in what Peter Schweitzer calls the dark corners of international finance. Places like Kazakhstan, China, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Ukraine. Have you ever wondered why Biden sent trillions of dollars of our money to Ukraine? Because it's one of his personal money laundering locations. Anyone who was paying any degree of attention knew from day one, before the narrative shifted away from COVID and toward Ukraine, that we're only doing this because that's where Biden makes his filthy fucking money. And now that Trump is doing the same shit, this is why democracy doesn't work. This is why we need a dictator. I will be your dictator. And so, back to Ukraine, you didn't honestly think the American establishment supported Ukraine because they love Ukrainians, did you? Nobody honestly believes that. Like, what are you, 8 years old? I don't know much about the guy who wrote Profiles in Corruption. Like, I'm 90% sure he's a conservative who cries about Joe Biden in the 90s, saying he doesn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. And while I am not actually a racist, I do play one on the internet purely because of the rhetorical butt-fucking it allows me to give leftists. Joe Biden's racist comments are the only things that I like about him. Cope and seethe, leftists. If you're 200 years old like I am, you remember Joe bragging about riding Amtrak all the time. He thought it gave him blue-collar bona fides. Yeah, sure, Joe. But here's what Joe left out. When he was running late, he would call the conductor and pull rank, telling them to hold the train until he arrived. Oh, he also plagiarized campaign speeches. Small potatoes, but nonetheless. While his son Hunter was raking in major consulting fees from a credit card company in Delaware, Joe voted against legislation that would require such companies to disclose the financial consequences of only making the monthly minimum payment. Again, small potatoes, but we're just adding more and more potatoes onto the pile. We got a nice little pile of small potatoes so far. It's growing into a bigger pile. Here's another one. While his son Bo was... Who names their son Bo? When his son Bo was working at a law firm that was handling asbestos litigation cases, how do you think Joe legislated? Do you think Do you suppose he legislated against the people giving money to him and his son? No, of course not. Hunter started working as a lobbyist in 2001, but he stopped when, quote, the Senate passed an ethics bill requiring senators to verify in writing that they or their families would not benefit from spending items or earmarks that they were pushing. No problem, though. That's just one of hundreds of schemes the Crichton-Beim family... No problem, though. That's just one of hundreds of schemes that the Biden crime family would concoct during their decades-long reign of terror and crack cocaine. For example, an online gambling company called Party Gaming hired Hunter to lobby for them, but he had to drop them as a client when his dad announced that he was running for office with Barack Obama. Shortly thereafter, Party Gaming was fined $300 million for violating the Wire Act. Hunter would often fly with his father aboard Air Force Two to visit countries that were offering bribes to the Biden family. They would euphemistically say that they were making business deals, but it was bribery. It was quid pro quo. The deals were not taking place in Britain or Japan, where business deals require at least a little bit of transparency. No, these deals were being done in Ukraine, Russia, Kazakhstan, etc. Brutally corrupt places, perhaps even Biden-level corrupt. Hunter and his dad flew to China aboard Air Force Two, and 10 days after he returned home, Hunter's investment company, Rosemont Seneca Partners, landed a huge deal with the government-owned Bank of China. How huge is huge? $1.5 billion. If you think that's because Hunter is great at investing, you might have massive brain damage. An important part of this is that they struck the deal not with a Chinese company, but with the Chinese government. So the government of China was in a business relationship with the vice president's son. Isn't this China connection interesting? Perhaps this is part of why the Democrat establishment punished people in 2020 who said the truth about COVID, that it came from China. Everything about COVID was an IQ test, and 100% of people on the left failed totally. Actually, scratch that. The rank and file leftists failed, but the global establishment won in a huge way. Oh, by the way, the global establishment is leftist, which is why they support little boys taking puberty blockers so they become little girls and vice versa. It's why they support abortion and want a Planned Parenthood on every street corner. And they want every woman to have a lifetime subscription, like come in and get as many abortions as you want. It's why they want drag queens reading graphic sex stories to children at libraries. It's why they worship evil scumfucks like George Floyd, who tortured a pregnant woman. Go ahead and put the wiki thing down below my video. Oh, George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin. Do it, Google. Do it. I want you to do it. Those are all left-wing positions. If the global establishment were right-wing, they would put into the heads of abortion doctors. But anyway, the left-right dichotomy doesn't truly exist. It's just an easy shorthand. The elites are open and proud Satanists, which is why they shove their Satanism into your face as often as possible. It's just that Satanism and leftism share, 80% of their beliefs. If you made a Venn diagram, it would just be a perfect circle. So anyway, back to Hunter Biden and China. Am I the only person who thinks it's weird that a guy with no background in China or Chinese finance or domestic private equity, apart from a brief and failed experiment to run a hedge fund with his uncle, is able to secure a deal worth $1.5 billion after visiting China with his vice president father? Nah, I'm probably just being dramatic, right? I'm just a conspiracy theorist. Hunter got a second billion-dollar deal with the Chinese government after that. And then there's the case of Patrick Ho, who was arrested in 2017 in New York. He was arrested for money laundering and violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The first person he called while in custody was Hunter. So if you're wondering why the Obama and Biden administrations allowed China to ransack America and kill hundreds of thousands of Americans with fentanyl, it's because our rulers make money from them. And I think it's pretty clear that Israel is a bigger problem right now than China, but China still is a problem. When you see paid actors who call themselves news anchors crying about someone in politics who is a racist, just remember that those people are collaborators with the Biden crime family. They are enablers and co-defendants. Vote for me to be your dictator, and I will put them all in prison. Remember how we sent billions of dollars to Ukraine? The government told us it was to help them defend themselves against those evil, scary Russians. Well, a Ukrainian natural gas company called Burisma was paying Hunter Biden $83,000 per month, and recently that rat fuck Zelensky was crying about how $200 billion just magically went missing. I don't know where it is, guys, honest. It's just missing. Early in 2025, Trump killed USAID, and I'm old enough to remember when lefties were calling for that shit-ass department to be shut down. Well, USAID is also involved in the Biden crime family's Ukraine scheme. Vote for me, and I will put every single former employee of USAID in prison. And if they get it going again, anyone who has ever touched that company directly into a cage. Leftists will not remember what I'm about to say because their TV never told them about it, but Biden is on camera openly bragging about getting a Ukrainian prosecutor fired. The prosecutor was investigating Burisma's corruption. Joe Biden used $1 billion of aid money as leverage to stop the investigation and force the firing of the prosecuting attorney. He is on camera admitting all of this. He doesn't seem to think he did anything wrong at all. That's how deep up inside his own ass he is. Or was. He doesn't even know he's alive anymore. He has been a zombie since before he won the fucking election. So at this point in the video, I'm not even halfway through the chapter on Joe Biden, and I've only shared like 10% of it. Bear in mind, everything that I'm talking about here is just what's public. There are probably thousands of even shadier deals that the Bidens got away with. Most people think Joe is just a senile old man who was used as a puppet by the evil people who run America. He's not just a senile old man. He's deeply corrupt. He is a subhuman prostitute who should have been imprisoned at ADX Florence Supermax. If you don't hate Joe Biden, you're not paying attention.